Have you ever met someone who just feels like a walking paradox? 1 minute, they're an open book, sharing these deep, shockingly clear insights about your own life. They're the rarest personality type and are often described as a bundle of contradictions. They can be social butterflies, yet intensely private. They feel everything deeply, yet can come across as guarded and reserved. The next, they've pulled up the drawbridge and become a fortress, leaving you wondering if you ever really knew them. What if it's just what happens when a mind is wired completely differently? It's not magic. It's their brain finally clicking the last puzzle piece into place and showing them the finished picture. Using brain scans, Nardi discovered that INFJs can go into a unique, whole brain state of synchronicity when they're deep in thought. He called it a Zen-like pattern. Basically, all parts of their neocortex light up and work together to find the one best answer. They can be the center of attention one night and a total hermit the next. If someone is loud, they might become the quiet, listening ear. This constant shifting makes them really hard to pin down. With one person, they might be all logic and analysis. With another, they're warm and emotionally expressive. They don't just understand what you're feeling, they often absorb it, experiencing other people's emotions as if they were their own. They can pick up on the subtle emotional shifts in a room and often know what you're going through before you've even said a word. It can feel like they have a direct window into your soul. This isn't them being fake. It's often called the chameleon effect. This isn't to be deceptive. It's a powerful act of self-preservation. Feeling emotions that intensely both their own and everyone else's is exhausting. To avoid getting completely overwhelmed, they build what you could call an emotional fortress. They have a deep-seated fear of being misunderstood or judged, so they're extremely selective about who they let in. It comes from their secondary function, extroverted feeling which makes them hyper-aware of the emotional vibe of a room and what others need. They can see you, but they rarely let you see all of them. They might show different parts of themselves too. Different people, but very few ever get the full, unedited version. This guardedness can make them seem aloof or secretive, even to people they love. They keep their true, complex selves under lock and key, waiting for a level of trust that feels extraordinarily safe. Their privacy is their shield, but it's also the very wall that makes them so enigmatic. This just shows how deeply their minds work to connect the dots, leading to those uncanny insights that can seem so baffling to the rest of us. But here is the catch. They can find it almost impossible to explain how they got there. They often just know things without being able to show the work. This is a huge part of their mystery. Their insights can be incredibly on point, but their process is invisible to everyone else, and sometimes even to themselves. The real key to the INFJ enigma isn't what they do, but how they think. Many INFJs say they struggle to know who they really are, because their personality feels so changeable, depending on who they ray with. This feeds into another layer of their mystery, their all-or-nothing social energy. An INFJ can go from being super social to needing complete solitude to recharge and find their own center again. To an outsider, this can look flaky or inconsistent, adding to the feeling that you're never seeing the real them. The truth is, they're both, the socialite and the recluse, the logician and the feeler. It just depends on what the world is asking of them. It all comes down to their master cognitive function, introverted intuition. This isn't just some personality quirk. It's the very engine that drives them. And it's the main reason they are so profoundly and often beautifully misunderstood. If this sounds familiar, you might have an INFJ on your hands. But what if this mysterious vibe isn't an act? Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the INFJ personality. Think of your brain like a supercomputer that's always taking in data. For most of us, that process is pretty conscious and step by step. But for an INFJ, it's much more subconscious and big picture. Me is like a pattern-finding machine that hums along in the background, weaving together random bits of information, a chat from last week, a fleeting facial expression, a story from a book into one single aha moment. We're going to get past the stereotypes and look at the real psychological gears turning in their minds, from their unique brain patterns to their complex emotional world. By the end of this, you won't just see the mystery, you'll actually get the beautiful, complex logic behind it. Section 1. The invisible engine. The power of introverted intuition. Need to really get an INFJ, you have to understand their default way of seeing the world, which is a cognitive function called introverted intuition, or NI. This is why an INFJ might suddenly have a gut feeling that feels like it came out of thin air. Neuroscience research from experts like Dario Nardi adds a really cool layer to this. Section 2. The social chameleon and the walking contradiction. One of the most confusing things about an INFJ is how much they seem to contradict themselves. They instinctively try to create harmony. If someone they're with is really passive, the INFJ might step up and be more assertive. But this adaptability can come with a price. Section 3. The empathetic fortress. Feeling everything, sharing almost nothing. INFJs have a truly profound sense of empathy. But here's the great paradox. While they are masters at seeing into others, they are incredibly private about their own inner world. This creates a kind of one-way mirror. Section 4. The language of symbols and a vision of the future. Talking to an INFJ can sometimes feel like trying to interpret a dream. Their mind, led by introverted intuition, doesn't just think in facts, it thinks in symbols, metaphors, and abstract ideas. INFJs are driven by a deep sense of purpose and a vision for how things could be. They can get so lost in their own world of ideas and possibilities that they seem out of touch with day-to-day life. They might look quiet or zoned out, but inside, their minds are buzzing, running simulations, exploring possibilities, and connecting dots on a massive scale. Their enigmatic reputation comes from a blend of their core traits. This inner focus is essential for them, but it also isolates them in a rich and vibrant world that's largely invisible to others. They all flow from the same source, their intuitive and feeling-based nature. The INFJ isn't trying to be a puzzle, they just are one. Their inner world is a rich, complex, and intensely private place. They don't hide because they have something to conceal, but because they have so much to protect. They're always looking ahead, thinking about the long-term impact of today's actions and trying to live in a way that feels true to their values. It's a sign of your depth, and if you have an INFJ in your life, maybe this helps you appreciate the unique way they move through the world. But this can make them seem a bit disconnected from the present. See you in the next one. If you're an INFJ, did this hit home? Share your thoughts and stories in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. While everyone else is worried about the here and now, the INFJ's mind is often 10 steps down the road, playing out future scenarios that others can't see yet. They're usually more interested in the why of something than the what, which can lead conversations down some pretty deep, philosophical rabbit holes. Instead of saying something directly, they might use a metaphor to get at a deeper truth, a way of speaking that's poetic, but can be a little confusing for more literal-minded people. This abstract, future-focused thinking is another key to their mystery. This visionary quality can be incredibly inspiring, but it can also create a bit of distance. Their social chameleon tendencies, born from a deep need for harmony, can make them seem inconsistent. Their profound empathy is protected by a fortress of privacy, creating a one-way connection where they get you far better than you can get them, and their focus on a symbolic, future-oriented world can make them seem detached from the present. Understanding the puzzle. The INFJ's mystery isn't a deliberate performance. It has the natural outcome of a mind that is just wired to see the world from a different angle. Their knack for sudden insights seems to come from nowhere, leaving people baffled. These aren't just random quirks. So, if you're an INFJ, know that your mysterious side isn't a flaw. What have your experiences been like with this personality type? And if you enjoyed this look into the psychology of personality, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content that explores the fascinating ways our minds work.